Because now I find myself like I'm not like the running away person anymore. I really like I don't look at me like that. I really stop.
Do we tell lies now?
No, it's not. I don't want it.
Is that what we're doing?
No.
Okay, then tell the truth.
Okay. But like I find that, but I'm more jovial and friendly and like, less.
I mean, it is your
my teen
essence,
got
though.
era, though.
Okay, you're not a teen, darling. We've gone through this. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Vivid Experience. And I don't know, we're playing with names now. Do you want to be called Vividas? She's a hater. I like Vividas.
Please say no. Don't allow
We're going to
be
do
called
a poll.
Vividas.
That's what we're going to do. And then people that like Vividas, they're my people. And people that don't like Vividas, please suggest a name.
They are my people.
Don't just be a hater. Just to suggest a name.
If you don't like Vividas, they're my people, for real.
We've missed you. And today we're going to be talking about self-affirmations. And what's the second one?
Choosing yourself. No, but it's not in that self-help way, TikTok way of like Zen, giddy. Not that, no.
Not that we're saying Zen is a bad thing.
Zen isn't bad.
But
you get what I mean? Not that gurish way, like,
well, you know what? I think that gurish ways are tried and successful.
I think my issue now is that right now we gamify everything, right? So, for example, take the concept of boundaries, right? Obviously, boundaries are important, but now we're sort of overcorrecting and we're overusing actual clinical therapy, psychological language so much that it's now sort of lost its meaning. If you get what I mean.
Say it's giving shackles. And I walk away. I ain't got time. Like, that's giving shackles.
I was going to be serious this episode. With that, I was going on about psychological things.
Are you inferring that I'm the serious one?
Yes. But I think, especially with social media, everything is just like any small thing, boundaries. Nigga, put that fence down. Like, you get what I mean? It becomes so overutilized that we kind of forget the true essence of it. Same thing where you hear terms like self-love, self-care. I get it. I do it. I
was just about to say, Neimat said self-love and self-care. We hear this like every 2 business days.
Make it one, but okay. So, but like I do it too, but it's also, I guess what I'm trying to say is we sometimes avoid the deeper work. And then just stay with the glossary terms. We stay with the external terms. We don't go deep into it. For example, the concept of self-care, it's not pretty nails and pretty feet. It's really deep, like excavating your subconscious and looking at behaviors that are holding you back and stopping you from living well. That's actually
your inner child.
Exactly. And that's not pretty. It's not. It's like lots of tears, lots of heavy stuff, heavy emotions. But when people say things like hashtag self-love, like, no, your nails being pretty doesn't mean your life you're a better person. You're still feeling like shit. No offense.
Okay.
Nice.
I mean, there was so much offense to be taken from that, but I'm just going to interject, right? Yeah, I think self-love is a little bit of all of that, right? But essentially, self-love is an action that you give to yourself. Because that's the thing. I think growing up, I used to imagine that love had to be like an expression, like an adverb. She's doing it lovingly, but it's really an action word. So what things can you do to gift yourself? That's self-love, right? So whether it is you exercising, that's actually, I mean, whilst you're doing it, it might not feel good, but again, it is self-love. It's an action that you're taking.
The gym rats would agree.
Whether it is cooking for yourself, because whatever it is that you have access to outside of your pantry might not be healthy enough for you, that is self-love. Whether it is you reaching out to a friend or two, or having them reach back out to you, heal you, that is self-love. Taking that course that will take you to the next step, the next degree, even though it costs way more than you probably that is self-love. Whether it is spending time reading a book that you have been looking forward to reading, and you know that will definitely take you to the next level.
That I can relate with.
That's self-love.
Yeah. So sometimes when I hear terms like choosing me, especially when it's made in the context of trying to be viral, it sometimes has selfish connotations to it, right? Sometimes, especially when, like, you know, when you make content just so people can talk, right? People say, I'm choosing me, this and that. Like, oh, will I choose
Some
you?
people are really toxic.
Yeah, exactly.
Just going back to, I've seen some alarming types of content in the past couple of weeks, and I'm like, this shouldn't even catch on.
Yeah,
don't reward people like this with more views and impressions and comments and
stuff, right? Because truth be told, your longest relationship is with yourself. I remember telling a close friend of mine that no matter how much you love somebody, you're not going to get into the coffin with them. That sounds so bleak. It does. In hindsight, it does sound so bleak. But
I always ask myself, how did we get here?
Yes. But I just want her to understand that no matter how much you love people, your longest relationship is with yourself.
Your longest relationship is with yourself. Make sure it is the healthiest.
Yes, but it also be messy sometimes, and allow it to be messy sometimes. Like the growth process is not a kumbaya thing, right? So when I think of choosing myself, it means actually sometimes calling myself out on my own bull stuff.
Let's talk about calling ourselves.
Yeah, it's something I don't like it. I don't want to. Like, I want to just ignore and pretend I'm the good person here. Yeah, I do that. We all do that. Nobody should judge me. But
it does feel good when we do that. But then the truth is, you always need to figure out what part you have played in your own misery.
Yeah,
I think that
exactly.
I think that's also self-love.
Yeah.
There have been things that have happened in my past, especially relationships with people. And when it happens, at first you feel like you are the victim, right? And I'm not saying that there are not instances where you are, or in some way.
If you're in an abusive relationship, call the police, call for help. Thank you.
Yes. I mean, the segue was unexpected, but very
yes, very important.
Very accurate.
Don't stay in an abusive toxic relationship, please. I think ultimately choosing you is being honest with yourself, right? And being responsible for yourself, for your actions, your inactions, the parts of it that are not so pretty. Because I think sometimes we can delude ourselves into thinking we're actually better people than we are. Sometimes.
My point is, what is the goal? What is the plot here?
To what?
What is the plot? To be the best person that ever lived?
No. It's to be better.
Yeah. You should be a better version of yourself, your past self. Yeah. That is the only, I feel like that should be the only metric for measurement.
Yeah.
You against you.
That sounds so like what you see in a gym, but okay, we get it. We get the context of it.
And it is true.
It is true.
I strongly believe that. Yeah.
The clichés are true. Mm-hmm. Right. So I would say for anyone who is still trying, because I think you discover new parts of yourself almost every year.
It's every so year beautiful, right?
Yeah, every year is too long.
Like you wake up today and like, I might actually be a narcissist.
Yeah, like I might be the problem, guys.
That might be fun.
Yeah.
Or I might be a crybaby, and I'm serious. These are things that have occurred to me. I'm like, I didn't put out my best self in that conversation.
And I might not be as tough as I think I am.
I didn't handle that thing well enough.
I might have had a temper in that time and overreacted.
Might have.
Anyway, this is no indication of my character, guys.
Of course not.
But
it is of my character, though.
She's a problem always.
Yeah. You see, self-love.
But I do think when I hear terms like choosing you and I think you must understand that you are a garden, and there will be weeds in your life. Oh my God, that sounds so woo-woo, but do you get my point?
I'm just about to write that as a prologue or an
epilogue.
Make sure you find the right gardener to garden your...
Does. So, my point is, oh my God, okay, not a garden anymore. But my point is, you are like your biggest project. Mm-hmm. And not in a narcissistic, self-absorbed way. You will find flaws with yourself. You would try and fix those flaws. Mm-hmm. You would try and improve. But your relationship with yourself changes. For example, the way I look at myself now it's not I like myself before. I didn't really like myself. There were some parts of myself that I didn't like so much that I'm sort of embracing now. Like, these are actually strengths, not what I thought they were. Some of them I've had to drop off. Some are completely horrible and I needed to let go of that. So, like, it's evolving. By the time I get to, like, 50, my mind would have changed. Whether I see myself would have changed. Whether I would choose me would also have evolved too, if you get what I mean.
Completely. And I think it also translates to how you see other people also.
Yeah.
I think that the more grace you give yourself, there's a huge tendency that you give another person or a person that deserves it equally more grace.
Yeah.
Right? So essentially we're getting better and we're loving ourselves so we can be better for the society.
Yeah. Society needs that.
That might be the narcissist part.
That might be narcissist.
Just peeking a little bit, but it's in check right now.
But
yeah.
Okay, so I would say I sometimes think people are really hard on themselves. I do, especially women. We are, bless them, like, we are hard on ourselves sometimes. Like, we are hard on ourselves.
We've had to call ourselves many times.
Our friends out too and say, no, we are incredibly hard. We're harsh. When I've actually one time, I think I spoke to you or another close friend of ours, and I realized, like, yeah, if it was me, I wouldn't say that to myself. I wouldn't say that to myself. I would be really angry and do all of that. But I talked to her with so much kindness, and I had to remind myself that maybe I should be kinder to myself.
Right.
Maybe I'm not as god awful as I thought I was. Maybe.
I mean, one of these days we're gonna do an episode about how we handle mistakes, but it's one thing that I've had to unlearn. Dealing with mistakes and handling those, and how I speak or communicate to myself when those things happen, because mistakes are like Thanos, they're inevitable.
What's that, the Infinity Stones?
Infinity Stones! Yeah. The nerd here. But back to point, it is, how do you speak to yourself in those moments? How do you walk yourself through those mistakes, in the sense that this has happened, it wasn't very good, perhaps my behavior was not the best, and how do I make sure that when this happens, because it will happen, life will keep testing us until we learn the lesson. When this happens again, how can I be better prepared? How can I handle it differently in a way that also is not self-deprecating?
So
because that's the part that I had to work on.
Yeah.
The self-deprecation.
Yeah.
Why would you shoot yourself out of a ring or knock yourself down before life comes at you?
Yeah. So I started doing this thing. I think it was like last year. I didn't do it properly, but I started doing this thing where I asked myself how I feel. So my journal prompt is, how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
And I really list out every single emotion I'm feeling. Like, I'm angry. I feel guilt too. A little bit of shame, a little bit of sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I go through I write it down. And then I take a beat. And I then ask, the next question then becomes, what part did I play in this? Mm-hmm. So after I've gone through how I actually feel, and then ask myself what part I played, right? And then I can look at it, maybe not that exact time after I finish crying, but like I can look at it and be like, okay.
You have that one friend that can always do it for you.
Yes. And I look at it and I come back to them like, okay, so this is what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes two to tango in any situation, or more than two. But my point is, there's cause and effect. You have a role to play in something. Sometimes when people say that friendships broke down, relationships broke down, like, you need to sit down and think, you might not have played a major part. You can't hold yourself responsible for somebody else's mess up, but think about something that you were a part of a little bit. Did you set a foundation, set a tone or something?
No, for sure. Like I said,
except for horrible cases.
If there is misery, then you definitely played a part. And I'm not saying that you played a part in a way that made it negative or made it positive. You were not a bystander, because you feel it so deeply. So you were actively involved.
Yeah.
And it's imperative that we have to sit down with ourselves. It is self-love also. Yeah. It's just like you said, it's the hard part of self-love.
It's the one that we don't talk about enough.
Yes. And I think we should put a bit more work into, as I am doing right now. Again, like I said, I'm not perfect.
Close to.
No, I'm not. I don't know why she said that. Verily imperfect. But that's the part, because there's some things that we have checked out, right? Like, our fitness, yes. check.
Your
Diet, check.
But your mind, your subconscious,
these are parts that you can't just, paint.
You can't outsource to.
You can't outsource.
You can't outsource. And I think that's actually what the deep healing work. There's one at the end of the road, somewhere in front, it will be fulfilling. And somewhere in front. But right now, when you start it is horrible. It is hard. You will break down. Like in the middle of the night, you would actually not be able to sleep. You would break down because your subconscious would come up with so many things that either you're a part of or that's happened to you, but it's a bloody mess.
And this is how you grow your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just thinking, I was just thinking as you were speaking, what were the things that you were super conscious of that caused insecurity for you growing up? And even now, if you want to share.
Okay, so when I was pregnant with my Supreme Leader,
Our Supreme Leader.
Our Highness. I felt unattractive.
Oh, girl, stop.
But then I look right now, I felt like, wow, this is a thing. And when you're here, and then when I had her, it was a tough time. It was a beautiful time. But my body, it took a lot. It was like I got a new body, right? And it took me a while, ups and downs, failed diets and failed exercise plans, to actually sit to the fact that I actually have the body of a woman now. I didn't want to. For a long time, I avoided the work of accepting that I was a woman and a parent. I'm serious. This is me being completely honest. I didn't want to. Not like I'm not aware. I'm aware, but my subconscious didn't want to embrace it. I just wanted to be 16. And so in that time, I behaved childishly. I wasn't negligent in my duties.
I know what you mean.
But I was also childish in the way that I lived. And I would slightly reckless too. Not like I said, I wasn't negligent in my duties. But
you're an amazing mom.
Thank you. But it was just childlike for me because it was hard for me to accept that I'm somebody's mom. I'm like a mother and a woman. Not just a mother, a woman. I'm not saying being a mother is what makes you a woman, but actually a growing person. I'm past 13, 14, 16, 17. I'm an adult now. Adulthood was a lot for me to accept, and it made me feel so insecure because I would then go on social media and see people really killing me. What's wrong with me? I'm not it weighed me down to see people getting the job, doing this. Lend me some of your strength or something, if you know what I mean. It did take me a long, brutal excavation period to step into the fact that to accept the adult that I am now. Do you get? And for a while, I was very insecure about it. And it actually affected me because I also ran away. I didn't make friends the way that I would. I didn't meet you. I didn't meet our other friends at that time. I didn't try to allow people love me because of that. I didn't let people love me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That was very deep.
I'm not putting that out on the internet.
It will go out. I guess for me, a myriad of things. I mean, body dysmorphia for sure. You've seen my sibling. She's the polar opposite of me, and I love her. She's and so beautiful. And I don't know why. I do know where it came from, but it was definitely embedded in me that I was not attractive.
Yeah.
And
you're so pretty. Touchlight. Sorry, that came out.
Okay. And I think for me, I put so much emphasis on my brain and my mind, and then I went to go do rigorous courses that would test you, and you would be in places with geniuses, amazing people. And because a lot of my self-esteem was on my mind and not much on anything else, that was definitely pushed.
Yeah.
And I just remember being super, super, super unhappy. Definitely not the version of me that you see now. It's wearing makeup and has colored hair. Wasn't there. And then I had this doubt about, am I really that smart? Maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
So it was just and I have worked through that there has been a lot of self-healing in there, and also support friends and family. And it's been a long walk because even these days, I find myself insecure.
Yeah.
Whether about my mind, well, not about my mind so much, because that was the first point. I was like, stop. You're brilliant.
Yeah.
Everybody is. But about my body, yes. And then, and you would catch yourself doing strange things like buy a dress that's 3 sizes too big.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it was your size. And then it's not your size.
Not your size,
and then you learn it and you feel even worse. Because
yeah.
how can you be a grown woman and not know your size and waist money? But in small things like that, or like if I face a rejection from the opposite sex, and I'm not even talking about walking up to a guy. I'm saying someone that you're actively in a relationship with and the person is just not mentally there, I would take it a lot deeper than I should, because it doesn't mean that person is not attracted to me. It's just in that moment that person is not in the mental space.
And times and seasons for everyone.
Exactly.
I think one thing I wish was actually more accessible in Nigeria was therapy. It's so expensive. I know a couple of people in my personal life who are going through it, and it's good for them, but they can afford it, and I wish that's something that, guidance and counseling in schools,
therapy is expensive everywhere in the world,
exactly.
darling. I don't think it's a Nigeria thing, because they have to go to school to learn this important
work, right?
Yes, and then be able to give it to
so I do think I don't know, I think healing isn't something you do alone. I think it's something that if you're lucky, or not lucky, but I think if you can look and actually you can see a couple of people who are willing to shine their light with you, and they make the healing faster. They don't do it for you, but they make it faster. And back to what I was saying then about when I was finally ready and like, okay, I really can't live like this anymore. I love people. Not like that. But I love people.
The truth comes out.
I love people. I love having friends. When I was younger, I had a best friend that went to primary and secondary school and university together. I love having friends. I love having gist partners. And so I then stepped out and then decided that, okay, I want to make friends. I want to actually let people into my life.
It was intentional.
Yeah.
And it was an action that you took.
Yeah.
And that was self-love.
Yeah, exactly. And then led me to the beautiful friends, amazing friends. I'm so lucky. Like, I think about my life, I'm like, I'm really lucky with the friends that I have. They're like amazing, right?
They're amazing.
But the thing is, I wouldn't have made those friends if I didn't get to that point. So I think it's two parts. You sort of thank your past self for helping you get through those hard times. To
get to this point.
And then you then look at yourself now and be like, I welcome you. I'm not sure it's going to be perfect all the way, but I welcome you, and whatever it is, I know that the experience of the past has taught me so many things that there's so many mistakes we won't make again. Right. Because now I find myself that I'm not like the running away person anymore. I really don't look at me like that. I really stop.
Do we tell lies now?
No, it's not.
Is that what we're doing?
No.
Okay, then tell the truth.
Okay. But I find that, but I'm more jovial and friendly and less.
I mean, it is your essence.
Teen goth era, though.
Okay, you're not a teen, darling. We've gone through this. But you have such a bright light and energy around you, right? Like, it's your persona.
Yeah.
I don't want you hiding it because of some insecurity.
Yeah.
If I could cover you, I would.
Oh, that's so sweet. Okay, guys, go bye now. I'm gonna cry now, so I'm gonna cry now. But I'm joking. But thank you. That's really sweet, right? But that's the thing about light too. Sometimes we have to actually look and embrace the lights that we are, and that's also part of the healing work. You get there, but sometimes you just feel like maybe I'm too much. I'm not enough for this and that. The voices.
Yeah, they speak, but we have to quiet them down.
Yeah. And I found not necessarily
and that
quiet.
Is self-love.
Yeah. I think for me, all the voices in my head have an audience, but
there be plenty in your head. Let's break that down.
Yeah.
Who are you listening to right now?
Many. No one I know. But I did, back to my process, when something happens that is really heavy for me, I then go through how do I feel. And I let all the voices come out. They do come out in my words and everything. Like, okay, you're out now, rest.
She be writing episodes, folks. Oof.
I write a lot.
She writes so well.
Thank you.
I just need you to not give it to everyone.
Okay.
I want the people that understand, that have the sense of comprehension, to have it going forward.
Yes, ma'am.
But you write so beautifully.
Thank you. I have new KPI, guys. Great. Great.
You know what I'm talking about.
I
People
know.
that don't do.
I know.
Okay.
I know. But still a new KPI regardless. So yeah, choosing you. I think you just have to you figure it out. I mean we all are, but eventually just understand that you don't live in isolation. And sometimes the way that you're choosing you might actually just be you like trying to distract yourself from doing the healing work.
A friend of mine sent me something this week.
It's on Instagram. It's Instagram, they send these things.
It was an Insta.
I knew it was on Instagram.
But it was like, have you really healed, or have you avoided your way out of the problem?
That's so beautiful.
That was deep.
That was deep. Yes.
That was so deep.
Yes.
And I thought about it for a long while.
Yeah.
For like most of the day. Like, have those things where you think, oh, I've healed from that.
No, you haven't.
Or did you just take yourself out of that environment? And you didn't really deal with the problem?
Yeah, because it'll come back again. Life is in circles. So like
until
you
learned that lesson, it will
there.
keep coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
It was so great to have you here. Drop your comments if you have any, and your viewpoints. We always love to hear from you. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.